Hey, this is David with No Chaser. Right now, I've been busy. I'm working on a project with Brett from Rev Left. I know a lot of you, a lot of the audience came from that. More details about that in the near future. But, anyways, let's just get right to the topic. Kind of a somber topic, but when it comes to alcoholism and addiction, it's somber stuff. But we shouldn't be afraid to talk about it. You shouldn't think that talking about it, will destroy the mood of, any sort of dialogue you're trying to have with somebody, because it needs to be talked about. Because I think that's how people feel so alone in it, because of the lack of discussion from it. And that kind of goes into the topic itself, is that the way that alcoholism and addiction puts you in a hole, in a true hole of loneliness, and a loneliness that almost you want to be there, like you want to push everybody away from any sort of help, or you don't think that you're good enough, or you almost kind of just want to waste away. I've with a lot of people that I've known, they've struggled, and they kind of do a thing where they reach out kind of with like an alligator arm, or they reach out just a little bit, but they just feel so ashamed that they almost don't want to be helped. I didn't want to be helped. I remember, every time when I've relapsed, people reach out to help in my recovery circle, and I almost kind of, I resented that people were trying to help me. I was just like, just let me waste away. And a big part of that self-pity, but also another part of it is that I can't stress enough how much drugs and alcohol in the addictive mind just changes your brain. It changes the way you see the world, the way things are, and you can either go down a route to where you don't think you deserve help, or can go down the route where you don't think you can be helped. But in all honesty, I guess what I'm getting at is more just talking about the experience, is that it's just loneliness can be lethal. The way it just puts you in a hole. I remember I went on kind of, I don't know, I guess a call or something. This was way back in, and at the time I only had 2.5 months of sobriety. I was with someone else who was my sponsor at the time, and we were just helping this individual who was just, said he was struggling, and he just wanted, some people to come over and talk. And you could just see in the rooms in his house just how little light there was. I mean, it looked like the house was haunted, and you just saw beer cans tossed all over the place, and you just, like, the clothes just strewn about, and it legitimately looked like like a person had died months ago. And I've been in that same position where I remember I would, one time where I had to be resuscitated and go to the hospital. I had to go to detox and everything like that, and I had to go back to my apartment, and I was living alone at the time. And I just look around, and you're just kind of one of those things of like, how do I live like this? And it's the thing is that your brain, when it's in that hyperdrive of addiction, wants you to live like this. It wants to push everything away that may help you. Again, I always go back and forth of actually characterizing the addictive mind as a thing, or as a person or whatever. But it's almost in this mechanism where it wants to push everything away from you that will help you. And kind of in the same way that depression, depression will keep you from doing all the things you need to do to not be depressed. And recently, I've struggled, and people in my close circle have fell off or struggled, and there's this thing where there's been a big just outreach, and the shame that's there, the shame of doing something that 99% of us have done, just the shame of not even that you've let people down, but that you feel unworthy, and just all the negativity in your mind, it gets blasted in there. And it's such an ugly place to be. And for anybody watching this, I guess the point of my making this video is that if there's anybody struggling that's in this hole right now, because I've done the same thing too, where I've watched videos like this, even though I've been, you would kind of think that the last thing you would want to watch when you're in active addiction is videos about it. But, for anybody that's just in that hole right now, you know, if you have people reaching out to help you and you're so down on yourself that you just don't want to be helped, I can't stress enough that you can come out of it. Like, you can come out of this deep fog in, just if you're available to like do a detox, or I'd never say do a home detox because that could be incredibly unsafe, especially with alcohol. But it just depends on finances and unfortunately the way the system kind of works. But I think I'm driving at is that hole that you're in, where you almost resent people trying to help you, and you almost just you feel just so unworthy, like literally just like not even like 60 feet below the pile of shit, like in the bottom of an ashtray on a pile of shit, and you just feel so bad. Is that you could pull yourself out of it. Not to say you'll completely be fine, but just within like a week, you can get yourself out of it and to accept help. Because here's the thing: is that most people in recovery, they want to help you almost in a counterintuitively selfish way. A thing that I thought so much is that, yeah, I don't want to burden people with these things, and what if they help me and I fuck up again, and all this sort of like things that's just, again, the addictive mind at work trying to drive me away. But some of it I thought was kind of true, where it's just like, I don't want I don't want to just them their I don't want to take away from their lives or anything like that. And I realized more and more over time that they want to help you because it helps them. Like, and it had helped me in the past too. It helped me getting the desperate phone call. It helped me, coming to a person's house and seeing them on the edge, and then just seeing that they weren't going to step off the ledge that night. And I didn't care how like little sleep I got the next day. I mean, you don't want to be burnt out from helping people too much. That's a whole nother topic. But just the idea of the loneliness that is in an active addiction in drinking. Just I'm thinking about it right now. Just sitting in your room, like, especially now where you can order like DoorDash or something, where you come up to the room looking like a zombie, just grabbing alcohol and then maybe some food. My thing was I used to subsist on just like some water and popsicles, just some coolness down there. I remember just living to where I wouldn't have anybody around me. I wanted to live on the fucking moon. I didn't want anyone around me, and I didn't think that I was worthy to be helped or that I could be helped or anything like that. And that, putting yourself in that cocoon of sadness and despair, that can be lifted within a couple of days. It gets better very quickly, exponentially. Now, from that point on is a different story, but you can pull yourself out of that relatively quickly if you just give people the chance to help you. So that's all I'm going to say on that note. Like I said, maybe on the next video I will announce a project that me and Brett are working on that we're very excited about, and I think if you like any of the content I do, then you'll be excited about it too. But anyways, if you're in that struggle, or if you're in that hole, just if you can accept help. If not, I just wish you well, and anybody else out there, be well.